Council to order, and we'll stand now, Mr. Clerk, for the national anthem. Thank you. Please be seated. Well, we have a few members of the audience. It's always nice to have some of our important folk here tonight. Thank you very much. Roll call. We're missing 2 members tonight. One ill, one at the game. I guess we're going to be getting report updates. To my left, Councillor Diane Rajima, Councillor John Pachariva, Councillor Wayne McMillan. On my right, Councillor Rob Foster, Deputy Mayor, Councillor David Thompson, Councillor Lynn Timmers. And in the staff gallery, we have Laurie Laird, who is the, I have to get the titles correctly here, she's the Programmer of Community Services, and Helen Booth, the Culture and Heritage Administrator, Dave Graham, Director of Infrastructure, and next to him, Mr. Asad Hussein, who's the Director of Sport, Recreation and Culture, Kathleen Dale, the Director of Economic Development and Planning. And where is Chris Calling? Did he leave? Well, Chris Collings, who had the blue shirt on, is the Manager of Bylaw and Enforcement Services, and he's pretty new around here, so I was kind of hoping that he was hanging around. Apparently not. And to my right, we have Mr. William Kalasa, our loyal clerk, and Mr. Mike Kirkopoulos, who's our other loyal employee, CAO of the Town of Link. Declarations of interest. Councillors. Being none, confirmation of the agenda. Any adjustments? Just state your purpose, your reason if you have one. All right, adoption of the previous council meeting minutes. And I have the minutes of council's regular meeting of October the 3rd, 2016, moved by Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Timmers, that the minutes of the October 3rd, 2016 regular meeting of council, including the confidential addendum thereto, be adopted as circulated. Your pleasure on the motion. The motion is carried. And is there any business arising from the minutes? Thank you. Next, we have the mayor's report. And I do have a report this evening. A few things going on in town, and I try not to repeat the items that I think will come up through the councillors' reports. However, I was very pleased to attend an event called Trout Unlimited, and it was a welcome of wounded soldiers in the Project Healing Waters, which is a fly fishing rehabilitation project for injured soldiers, and they spend 3 days practicing their casting, but also making flies, which is a very focused kind of engagement, and apparently it's very therapeutic. This was sponsored by the NPCA, and they were fly fishing at a pond on the 12 Mile Creek. I was at Niagara College's Canada's Farm of the Future Day, and the emphasis was on the varieties of innovation and information technology that farmers are using now to collect data on land parcels and attempt to refine recommended levels of crop amendments, pesticides, and water. And this is very important because there is a real focus on farm efficiency and minimizing the impact of normal farm practices on the environment in regard to runoff and those kinds of important issues. I attended the Canadian Greenhouse Conference, which was really a preamble to our delegation in Holland, which we will begin on October the 29th. And I was able to meet with several Niagara small manufacturers who support the greenhouse industry. In fact, there are many more than I believe that we even understand. I think I met 12, and then there were additional growers or suppliers who were from Niagara-on-the-Lake and also St. Catharines. The Greenhouse Association was also in attendance and is eager to grow the sector by 1,200 acres and 7,800 additional jobs over the next 5 years. And that equates to $900 million in direct construction investment and $15.6 billion added to the Ontario economy. So this is certainly a sector that this town is interested in working with to see how we can assist them in that endeavor. On October the 11th, I attended a roundtable with Premier Kathleen Wynne that was hosted by Vineland Research and Innovation Center, Jim Brandel, who is the CEO. And there were a number of sectors that were in attendance. Greenhouse, of course, and they're interested in growth. And I just thought it would be interesting for you to know that they've expanded at an annual compounded rate of 6.1% over the past 2 decades. Over the past 5 years, they have grown by 688 acres in the province of Ontario, representing an investment of approximately $550 million. The sector spans 3,190 acres and 20,000 jobs, $2.5 billion they bring to the Ontario economy, and they exported $920 million in 2014. So that just gives you a sense of what our motivation is for looking for high crop production, high value crops on some of the vacant land that we have. Then we shift over to the wine, and their interest, of course, is related to shelf margins, so that they were certainly having a chat with the Premier about that. Very, very important in terms of our trade agreements and the number of imports that they have to contend with. And the grape industry is looking for local rootstock as a very urgent requirement for sustainable growth and a healthy rootstock for sure. Tenderfruit, greenhouse, and wine were also discussing the drought cycle with her and the issues around irrigation and potable water and reliable sources and a complete change in policy and attitude. So those were the matters that I was dealing with over the last 2 to 3 weeks. I'd like to move on now to the Regional Councillors' report, and there are a few things that are happening at Regional Council. We've started the budget cycle for 2017, and the guidance for all departments is at 1%. We're going to be completing the agency boards and commissions in the next 2 weeks, and that's usually quite an exciting discussion because it includes the Conservation Authority budget and the police budget, which we have absolutely no control over except to say yes or no. So it's always a touchy discussion. There is a pilot project under the heading of public realm investment, And Director Hussein completed a very, very energetic and impressive grant application for this. This is to improve regional road appearance with trees and shrubs, plants, benches, all the kinds of things that you'd like to see on a nice streetscape. And so we're just, can we talk about the amount? Yes, so his application was so impressive that the town of Lincoln is receiving $60,000. So thank you very much, Mr. Hussein. The Niagara Go Hub and Transit Stations study has been reviewed by Regional Council, and we also reviewed it here at the town of Lincoln. And there'll be ongoing information about all of this. Mr. Koukopoulos was at Metrolinx this morning at the table representing our interests to ensure that in the discussions related to Metrolinx that our interests are out there in front of those who are going to be making the ultimate decisions, and they tie in very well to what we're going to be doing with intermunicipal transit as well. You may have heard about the Brock District Plan, which is a comprehensive community development plan. They're increasing campus living and associated retail and amenities, including linking the surrounding communities and open spaces at Brock. It's going to have a completely different feel up there. And Planning and Development Committee made recommendation to proceed with the regional official plan amendments, including adding Lake Gibson and Lake Moody to the area because of the popular recreation and naturalist environment that it presents. And that was passed at council last week. There's a recommendation from the Smarter Niagara Steering Committee for consideration of development charges, demolition credits for those in the audience that may be involved in this, and that motion was passed as well last council meeting. The Conservation Authorities Act review and the coordinated reviews have been presented as they are updated, and everything is moving forward to a deadline, which is, I think, the end of October, in that neighborhood. Kathleen's shaking her head, so I'm good. Number 2 district, the Niagara Regional Police Services headquarters is completed, and you'll be able to go on their website. There's all kinds of tours and pending in the next few weeks, and there will be a final financial breakdown coming in the future, and it's a little over budget. You'll be interested to know. The impact assessments were issued for residential properties in August. The farm assessments came out today. I just bring this to your attention so that you know that the reconsideration guidelines are on the front page, and it shows you who you should contact. Intermunicipal transit, there is a group made up of Welland, St. Catharines, and Niagara Falls who really are the large shareholders with intermunicipal transit in Niagara, and they're making improvements, and they've come already to talk to us about what our involvement will be, what we're looking at in terms of an intermunicipal transit system. And they've already made some immediate improvements with new routes to Brock and Niagara College services. They're looking at fare integration and coordination with GO service, and the final report on all of this will be available in the late fall. The Canada Games bid is moving along, and there are four possible candidates. They were all shortlisted, but they've been working on the next step, which is a comprehensive budget, and they'll be bringing that to corporate services this Wednesday. And I'll remind you that this is Local Government Week, so we thank all of the Town of Lincoln and regional staff for their support of our legislative agenda. And it is also Local Library Week, and we thank all of the staff and pages, the volunteers, and we thank Councillors Timmers and McMillan for the commitment that they are making to that very, very important element of our community. And for all of you out there in the audience and also in Cogeco land. Remember, you live in Lincoln, where every child is encouraged to achieve at their very best, and every citizen strives to be a good neighbor. Thank you. We'll move on to councillor reports, and I'll start with Councillor Timmers.
I'm first tonight. Thank you, Mayor Easton. I only have one thing that I wanted to talk about. Yesterday, I went to an absolute fabulous event. It was called the Sisterhood of Soul. It was at the Casablanca Winery Inn, and it was a major fundraiser for all the funds were going to a program called Go Girls, which is just a fabulous program. It's for girls grades 6 to 8, and it's all about promoting healthy self-esteem and confidence in young girls and young women. Anyway, it was really, really a great event. I really had a great time. And that's all I have for tonight.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thanks very much for going and representing us. Councillor Thompson.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. I will be brief as well. Just wanted to mention that on October 12th, Your Worship and Councillor Foster and Councillor Rinjima, Councillor Timmers and myself attended a event at the Red Stone with regards to the nomination of a candidate for the Liberal Party for the upcoming by-election in Niagara West Glanbrook. So they've chosen Vicky Ringette, and it was nice to mingle with MPP Bradley and the Premier and let them know that, you know, we're here in Lincoln and thank you for coming. And it was a very good conversation that we all had, I think, with the Minister and the Premier, so it was good. Thank you.
Very good. And I want people to know that it's very important to this town for us to be nonpartisan in the way we carry out the business of the town. And so we look forward when we can to going to these events so that we can keep up to date with who the representatives are. The candidate is a young woman. Her name is Vicky Ringette. So it's very nice to see another woman coming on the scene. You know, I think that everyone who puts their name forward, you want to give them a lot of credit. It's not, every moment of the campaign isn't fun, but there's just so much that people can do to make their communities better. So we will continue to do that, and it's always very enjoyable. In this way, we know who to go and talk to when we get our grant applications ready, and we're not shy about doing that. Councillor Foster.
Yes, thank you. Actually, this has been a very quiet 2 weeks for me, but I'm really afraid it's the calm before the storm. So as we're coming into November, it's going to be about 67 minutes worth of discussion, I think. So thank you.
That's okay. That's good. Councillor McMillan.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. It's been a very busy and very productive time with the Canada 150 weekly meetings, but I am going to defer any comments about what's happening at that committee because our chair is here tonight, and Ms. Cicliani is going to make a presentation and keep council up to date on what is happening there. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Pachariva.
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. Yeah, and mine's brief as well. I just attended the Chamber's breakfast networking meeting last week and had a lovely conversation with Larry Chettle, who was announced and named to our active transportation committee meeting. So look forward to working with Larry and the rest of the group as we go forward.
Very good. Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Njima.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I attended last Wednesday with the fire chief and with Mr. Kalasa and with Rosalie Potter the Essentials of Municipal Fire Protection and Emergency Management seminar. And it was fascinating, of course. There was a number of us that attended the seminar that was put on by the fire marshal a few years ago. I think it was 2012. But since then, the Emergency Management Office and the Office of the Fire Marshal have merged because they have some very clear similar interests and similar mandates. So I went there to help understand our roles and responsibilities as decision makers under the Fire Protection and Prevention Act, the Ontario Fire Code, and the Emergency Management Civil Protection Act. We've all heard over the years there seems to be more and more disasters. Goderich, for example, a natural disaster. Lac-Mégantic, an industrial disaster. And I think it was about 10 years ago now, was SARS, a health emergency that we remember very well. They seem to be happening more frequently, and I can't imagine a worse feeling than being involved and watching one of these unfold and not feeling that we're prepared. And of course we are. We definitely are. There's a lot of hard work going on behind the scenes. In many small municipalities, the community emergency management coordinator falls on the shoulders of the fire department chief, because as you can imagine, we have a small community, small numbers of people to fill these roles. And that's the case here in Lincoln, and it's not ideal because as you can imagine, in some emergencies, he's going to be required to have his feet on the ground, as well as have the constant contact and coordinating role. So now that we have our new communications position filled, it's going to be really interesting to see how this complements our emergency response plan. And I spoke to the fire chief this morning, and what we've done recently is through the region, we updated our HIRA, which is our Hazard Identification Risk Assessment Plan. The bill was footed by the region, so we're fortunate. And in the future, I think in November, we're going to be updating our annual emergency plan. We're going to be reviewing that. So in the future, I was going to ask the fire chief, if he's here tonight, if this seminar could be held possibly during the evening, because I know a lot of us have day jobs and weren't able to attend it. But it really was fascinating, and I think that everybody would find it very interesting if they went and attended the next one, which might be a year from now. It's great information to keep in mind, for example, as we go through our fire master plan rollout. I have this book, if anybody wants to have a look at it. I'll have it in my mailbox.
Thank you very much, Councillor, and have that conversation with Mr. Krikopoulos, and I'm sure that he can make whatever arrangements are necessary if it's possible. I don't know where all the people came from that were involved in it, but he would be the person to contact with.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, let's move on, councillors, to delegations, and I'd like to ask Nancy Chiliani to come up. Anyone coming up with you, Nancy? Just you? Come forward. Nancy is the chair of the Canada 150 Advisory Committee and a member of the community. She spent a few years providing really excellent volunteer support services to the Jordan Historical Museum of the 20 Sampler Gallery and gift shop. So, Nancy, what do you have for us?
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Nancy Siciliana, and I've been a resident of Lincoln for just about 20 years. I've worked with the West Lincoln Adult Learning Center as a volunteer tutor and tutor trainer for almost 9 years. I've been the volunteer coordinator and publicity marketing chair for the Heritage Gift Shop in Jordan, and the secretary for the Jordan Historical Museum of the 20 Volunteer Association Board of Directors. Right now, I'm teaching computer skills on a project Councillor Lynn Timmers and I started called the 4278 Queen Street Seniors Computer Lab, involving some of Beamsville's most creative and curious seniors, Niagara Regional Housing, the Town of Lincoln, and partner organizations such as Literacy Link Niagara and RCT Technologies. I'm also the new chair of the Canada 150 Committee in Lincoln. Volunteering in the community, I've noticed an exciting change in the town's vision and energy lately. There is a buzz that inspires every sector of our town to be motivated and positive about all the growing we're doing here in Lincoln. Our community is uniquely diverse, and it's rich because of this dynamic diversity. So many people are looking forward to realizing the great potential of Lincoln, and it's this anticipation and optimism that has made me want to be a part of the Canada 150 Committee. We are a group committed to learning about, showcasing, and preserving the wealth of history in this place. We are passionate about bringing all of the sectors of our community together so that we can all be aware of who's here and who's doing what. And we want to encourage everyone to take great pride in what we do together and individually. We look forward and invite everyone to envision all that we can accomplish into the future. The Canada 150 Committee is celebrating Canada's sesquicentennial anniversary in the very best way, by celebrating our Lincoln, a town that is proud and engaged. To that end, Canada's 150th birthday in 2017 will be a year filled with fantastic events to bring all the members of our community to light in celebration. We have 4 cornerstone events planned for the coming year: the New Year's Levy, the Canada 150 Mosaic Project, Canada Day, and the new Harvest Homecoming Festival. The New Year's Levy of 2017 will be unlike any other New Year's Levy we've ever experienced here in Lincoln. This levy will be a true celebration of the brand new year, where young families, seniors, business owners, everyone will be invited to meet the mayor and the town council and enjoy the festivities on the Fleming Center ice. The event will feature an open skate with hot chocolate and refreshments, all guaranteed to keep us warm as we welcome Canada's 150th year. The second event, the Canada 150 Mosaic, is a Canada-wide mural project featuring the Mural Mosaic team. This is a trio of artists who, over the course of 2 years, will create a mural including contributions from all the provinces and territories, over 80,000 paintings, and 150 individual murals will be created, and when these disparate parts are united, they will form one gigantic national mural mosaic. The town of Lincoln will be among the contributing communities. We'll host an event inviting participants from far and wide in our region to take part in creating a mural that tells our own story of our Lincoln. The mural will then become part of the national mural mosaic. When the entire Canada 150 Mosaic is complete, our community mural will remain here in Lincoln as a legacy of the 150th anniversary of Canada and a symbol of the pride we have in our Lincoln and in our country. July 1st, Canada Day, will be the birthday celebration we know and love, but with a twist. Fun-filled outdoors family event at beautiful Charles Daly Park. Entertainment and activities will run from 1 p.m. to 10 p.m., and they'll include inflatable bouncers, a climbing wall, the Mad Science Fun Station, and face painting for the kids. There'll be live performances throughout the day showcasing Lincoln's talented musicians and artists. The day's official opening ceremonies will kick off the celebration with an invitation to share in Canada's 150th anniversary birthday cake. And when the sun sets that evening, the day will close with a spectacular 150th birthday fireworks display by the lake. This last cornerstone event I'll mention is a brand new festival for Lincoln, set to begin on Friday, September 29th, and continue until Sunday, October 1st, 2017. The Harvest Homecoming Festival will in itself be a legacy for the community, returning each year during the traditional fall harvest time. Much of the festival is still in the planning stages right now, but I can let you know that the festival will take place over 3 days. It will be located in a number of different districts in Lincoln, within the King Street, Ontario Street, Beam Street, Serena Drive, Beamsville District High School areas of town. So it's a large street festival, which will involve sports and performance activities for children and young adults, arts and craft displays and markets, and interactive events where everyone can contribute and take part. This festival is meant to include everyone who makes up our Lincoln, whether they actively participate in staging events or simply wish to come out and learn about what's going on and enjoy it all. We encourage everyone to take part and invite everyone to let us know of events they'd like to plan and include. And our committee would like to facilitate that so that there's even more to experience, not just during these 4 major celebrations, but throughout the entire year. Right now, we'd like to invite all the residents to take part in one big goal of the Canada 150 Committee, which is beautifying Lincoln. On the week of November 6th to November 12th, we will be planting 150,000 Canada 150 tulip bulbs throughout Lincoln, with the help of Pioneer Greenhouses, but also many of the schools in Lincoln, several local businesses, hundreds of residents will also be taking part. Go online to lincoln.ca and register for your tulip bulbs, and then come out to one of our open house events to pick them up. Our open houses, finally, will take place from 6 to 8 p.m. on October 25th and 26th in Jordan at the Fire Hall on the 25th, and then at the Fleming Center in Meeting Room A the following evening. Learn more about each of the cornerstone events, sign up to volunteer in any of the events planned, and tell us more about the events you'd love to see become part of our year-long celebration and beyond. Then plant your tulips during Tulip Week, along with everyone else, and come next spring, Lincoln will be covered in red, white, and gold blooms, and it will be breathtaking. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nancy. It sounds very exciting. It should really be happening tomorrow, right? So I think maybe committee members may have some questions. Councillors, any questions? Councillor Foster, Councillor Thompson.
Yes, thank you very much. This sounds exciting. You guys are well on your way with a lot of these things. And I saw one of the people sitting beside you, Ms. Andrews, too. I'm sure she has her fingers into a variety of things with this. This Harvest Homecoming sounds great. And in fact, it sounds like a really special event that's going on. So if any advice at all, we need to be pulling in the service clubs and everyone else to get totally involved. Margaret and I are both Rotarians, and we've learned that multi-day events are very complex and need an awful lot of people to make them work properly. So anyway, just a little bit of advice as we're going down the road with that. So.
Well, thank you. Would you like to volunteer?
Oh, I'm sure I will be. My wife is going to be the president of Rotary next year, and I'm sure she has me lined up for a number of things already. So.
Great. Thank you.
Councillor Thompson.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor, through you. Thanks so much for coming and sharing this with us. Certainly, I know you guys have been busy. Certainly in my report, there's minutes from at least 8 meetings. So you guys are really going at it hard and heavy, so that's awesome. And the events are going to be just spectacular, and I can't wait till spring to see these tulips come up. It's going to be amazing. So thank you very much for coming and sharing that with us.
Thank you.
Councillor Timmers.
I don't have any questions, just a couple of comments. As I'm part of that Canada 150 committee, it's just so exciting. And Nancy, you just did a fabulous job just telling us, telling everyone what we're doing and what's going to be happening. And you're right that some of them are going to be legacy pieces that will continue on, not just for Canada's birthday, but continue on down the road, especially the festival.
Yes.
We're hoping that that'll be an annual thing. And I just want to mention that thank you to all the committee members that came out tonight. And we'll see you all on Thursday.
Well, thank you, yes, from me as well. I really appreciate it, but I won't see you on Thursday.
Councillor McMillan.
Again, Madam Mayor, not a question, but just a comment to thank Nancy for coming and for all the members of the committee that are here with you. An excellent report, just a super job. And the committee is in good hands. Thank you very much. And I understand that there is a family emergency, so safe journey to the East Coast, and hope things go well. Thank you.
Well, Nancy, I also want to add my thanks. I think one of the really excellent features of this whole thing is that this committee is the anchor, and there's a common calendar, so that when the Rotary decides that they want to do something, they can call up, look at the calendar, pick their date, be pretty sure that there isn't going to be 5 things happening on the same day, which is pretty important when you're putting all that effort into it. But yes, there are so many things that Nancy didn't touch on, but what a great job you did. And I think that we just have to let it out bit by bit, because that'll just keep people hanging on the edge of their seat.
Well, I
It's
will.
great.
I will keep you up to date every couple of months or so.
Sure.
But really, I only had 10 minutes,
I know, I know. Great job to all the committee and also to Andrea for your support, and Helen is on that committee as well. Lori, you know, there's lots of interaction going on here, and it does require a certain level of expertise to keep everybody straight. So everybody was selected for the, you know, for the fact that they have certain talents that are going to be able to pull this off in a grand and spectacular way. So thank you very much. We look forward to hearing more.
Thank you.
Mr. Clerk, correspondence? Nothing. We'll move on to reports and Sport, Recreation and Culture Committee minutes of October 5th. I have a motion moved by Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Foster, that the minutes of the Sport, Recreation and Culture Committee meeting of October the 5th, 2016 be adopted and the recommendations contained therein be approved and acted upon. Councillor Thompson.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. We had a pretty busy evening. Certainly, I'll speak to the delegations that came in first. The first one was Mr. Michael Hahn. He spoke about tennis courts and the benefits that citizens can reap by participating in tennis. And certainly, what we took out of that was we'll be addressing the situation with the number of courts in our municipality during budget. Then we had Ms. Mackey come in from the Municipal Heritage Committee, and she basically gave us a rundown on the interpretive signage, which is going to be part of the Canada 150 initiative. It was very interesting, and we really appreciate her coming in for that. Then we had Mr. Paul Scott regarding a de-designation of a heritage property. After that, we had some reports. The first report was with regards to that de-designation, and what will be occurring is staff will be bringing back a complete report for the next committee meeting regarding that particular item. We also had a report regarding the Municipal Heritage Committee's Community Information Guide, which is well underway, and looking forward to seeing that publication because it'll be very telling for both local people and for also our visitors to our town. We had a number of other reports in and around Municipal Heritage Committee items, and those reports, we've directed the CAO come back with a report on the heritage incentives and to help educate council on heritage in a municipal government context, so we're able to move forward in an appropriate manner and that allows for designation and the creation of some fulsome lists of properties. We also had requests from the Municipal Heritage Committee report regarding Canada 150 requests as well, looking for grant opportunities in and around that. We had some minutes from the Library Board, also the Heritage Committee and the Library, as well as the Canada 150 Committee, which had 8 meetings. So they're a very busy bunch, and I can't really speak too much to that because it was already spoken to in the presentation very, very well. We made a decision moving forward with the levy, which is part of the Canada 150 as well. And then we got into some really exciting information, which I'm going to let Laurie speak to, with regards to the Healthy Kids Community Challenge and also the Summer Recreation Programs update.
Laurie, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just an update on the Healthy Kids Challenge. We had our first set of initiatives, Theme 1, that took place in May and June of this year, so I provided some feedback just on the numbers of participation that we had with that initiative. So just a refresher that we had 5 different activities that we were able to do. One was the Traveling Playground Program. One was the Activity Passport. We had free family swims at the Alan F. Gretzinger Pool in June. We had the development of the play packs, and we also have purchased some skate aids to be used at the arenas. So throughout May and June, when these initiatives were taking place, we had about 100 children turn in their passports, so they completed the activities. We still have the passports out and about at the facilities. They're a good reference for different activities and facilities that children can use to keep themselves active. We had 11 traveling playground dates and 128 children attended those playgrounds. So they were a lot of fun. The summer adventure camp staff led those, and we had a lot of participation from families and children as well. So it was a really great opportunity. One thing that I really liked about it was we were out at parks where we don't normally have programming. So that was a way for us to showcase some of our facilities that aren't always used by direct programming. So 128 children came out to those playgrounds. We had 165 swimmers come to 8 free swims at the Alan F. Gretzinger Pool in June. And the play pack was loaned out at least 17 times, sometimes by the same person more than once, so they enjoyed it very much. We have that. That is a really great initiative because it's continuing. So we've recently just posted it on the Facebook page, so people can still borrow it continuously throughout for as long as they last, and we can keep replacing those and refilling those. The skate aids are currently in use at both of the arenas during our public skate times, both the Tiny Tots and the public skates, and they're getting well used. So it's really great that I think the play packs and the skate aids were two of the initiatives that are continuous, so they didn't just end in May and June. So overall, I think it was a very positive experience and a very positive program that we were able to offer to the families and children in town. We did receive just information about theme 2, and that theme is Water Does Wonders. So we're focusing on drinking water and encouraging children to drink that as opposed to sugary drinks and juice. So the 12 municipalities are on board with this initiative, and what they are doing is providing funding for the municipalities to input water refill stations within some of our facilities. So we have been given money for 2 of those, plus some money for installation. So we're looking at installing those either at Alan F. Gretzinger Pool, the Jordan Pool, or the Vineland Public Library. So we'll have them at 2 of those locations. So that will give an opportunity for us to have obviously these refill stations encourage children to drink water at facilities where we have families and children participating. So I'm working with Chuck Judson just to find the best place for these to go, but we'll hopefully have a decision on that next week so we can input that. So overall, very positive experience with the Healthy Kids. This is we're on theme 2. There are 3, so I'll be back again to share when you have news about theme 3.
Very good. Councillors, questions? Councillor Thompson.
Actually, there's a little bit more probably in regards to the summer programs.
Sure.
Would you like to speak to that as well, Lori?
Sure. We
Thanks.
did a report too, if I may continue, just in regards to our summer recreation programs, which is our summer adventure camp, as well as the operations of the 2 pools, Alan F. Gretzinger and Jordan Lyons Pool. And we had a very successful summer, some because it was so hot, but the numbers were really great at both of the pools and at camp. You can see our swim lesson. We had a report with the lesson registration, so we had a small decrease at AFG, 4%, which is only about 30 swimmers, so not much, but 26% increase in lessons at the Jordan Pool, which is fabulous. Some of that was probably because of the warm weather and people weren't deterred by the coldness of the pool, but also probably something to do with the great staff and the location of the pool and that sort of thing. So a good increase there. And we also had an increase in the recreation swim attendance at both camps. We did have 15 heat alert days throughout the summer, so with your approval, we offered free swims on days when there was a heat alert. So we had over 1,800 people were able to enjoy swimming for free throughout the summer, so that was excellent. And our summer camp registrations were up about 13%. We had over 701 campers that came through our summer program, and we were able to offer a full 7-week complement of programs at the Fleming Center this year. So we were able to run basically a full summer of camp at 2 locations, Beamsville and Jordan. So really great numbers, very successful program. Wonderful staff ran all the pools and the camps. I give all credit to them for doing that work, but a very positive overall experience with our summer programs.
That's great. And I will just add my enthusiasm, because as Lori reports at our committee, everybody just starts to vibrate because she's so excited about it. Simply awesome. Thanks so much, Lori. Appreciate that. One of the other items, a few of the other items that were discussed at the meeting were some requests were made regarding the status of tree planting at Meadowood Park and Conkle Creek. Usually staff indicated that occurs during the fall, so I'm sure we'll be getting updates on that. Conversations were started about Christmas light decorations in Camden, Tinter, and Jordan Station and Vineland. Confirmation that the BIA is taking on the Miracle on King Street this year. which is fantastic to see that festival keep going. And certainly public skates are also in full swing. Comments were made about the success of Pioneer Day this year, which was on October 1st. And obviously, thanks to all the staff that put that on, because that's a huge undertaking. And the last thing that was discussed was regarding finding an organization to run the concession stand at the Fleming Center. I know that the CAO wanted to comment on some public realm investments in and around the report. So if you wanted to do that, I'd be happy to have him do that, Madam Mayor.
CAO?
Through you, Madam Mayor, just to pick up on, I think, some of the comments you made earlier, the town of Lincoln has been successful through the Smarter Niagara Incentives Program, specifically the public realm investments portion. There was $250,000 set aside in 2016. 10 applications were received through Niagara Region. The town of Lincoln was a successful applicant, receiving Mary Easton, as you mentioned, $60,000, or almost a quarter of the funds that were set aside. So I think that speaks to the application put forward by staff. So I just wanted to expand a little bit on that.
Very good. All done? Very good. Councillor Thompson, I was kind of looking for the year-end museum report. Can we expect that next month?
I would assume that it'll be coming forward.
Okay, I'll leave it to you, Mr. CAO.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I just wanted to highlight that we have a committee of the whole coming up next Monday, and that we will be providing at that meeting a museum update, kind of a high-level museum update. And then moving forward, I think, as I shared with committee and council, that we will be presenting at each forthcoming SRC committee updates on the museum project.
Thank you very much. Thanks very much. I also like to know about the activities in all of the departments. I think it's a value for money piece of the kind of investment that we're making across the town, like heritage, like what's going on with some of the associated committees like archives. If we can find a way to bring all this information forward, I think it's really important to see how the good connections that there are. On this side, Councillor Renchima, Councillor McMillan.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's just a small thing. I think we usually separate out in the minutes who the committee members are and who are just attending out of interest. And I'm not a committee member, but I'm listed as a member. So.
Very good. Mr. Clerk will look after that. Councillor McMillan.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to make a comment about as everyone can recognize by going through the minutes, that the Heritage Committee has been very, very busy, and all of those motions that were brought forward are all very important to the committee, and that's shown in the fact that they were all approved at committee, and looking forward to the ratification by council. And once that happens, that they can move forward for staff comments and some implementation. And with that amount of work all coming forward at one time, this is really a very significant movement forward for heritage issues in our town. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
I agree, and it's an excellent, excellent Canada 150 project, and one that's on the list. It will need a lot of work, there's no question about it. All right, any other comments? Your pleasure on the motion? The motion's carried. And we'll move on now to the Economic Development and Planning Committee, and I have a motion moved by Councillor Foster, seconded by Councillor Thompson, that the minutes of the Economic Development and Planning Committee meeting of October the 11th, 2016 be adopted, and the recommendations contained therein be approved and acted upon. Councillor Foster.
Thank you, Mayor Easton. The committee meeting that evening was, for all intents and purposes, a relatively quick Economic Development and Planning Committee meeting, but we did deal with a couple of interesting items. We received as correspondence the Phase 1 interim summary report of the Niagara Go Hub and Transit Station study. Mrs. Dale provided a brief overview of the interim report, and there may be in the future a need for improvements to Ontario Street due to this initiative as we're moving along. It was quite interesting. This devolved or revolved into quite a discussion about GO Transit and where the municipality is going and some of the ramifications in the future. One of the things that if a GO Transit station does get put into Beamsville, there will be a need for intensification along that Ontario Street corridor, particularly in and around where that is. That's just the very nature of what the province expects when those types of things come into play. Councillor Njima asked a good question about this is a 6-phase approach and when is it going to be done. It was supposed to be done in a year, but there's no guarantees when it's going to be finalized. It's going to be going at least until next spring. So. But then the good thing is that we do have the bus coming in, and as we saw from the meeting that Mr. Kirkopoulos was at today, there will be construction relatively soon on doing a permanent station at the bottom end of Ontario Street beside the QEW at the lot. So we're looking forward to that. There was an administrative piece that we dealt with. It has to deal with rooftop solar applications. For all intents and purposes, what we've done is we have provided senior staff the ability to go and do approvals of those types of applications as they come through. This has been dealt with in depth by council back some time ago, but we have to regularly review and update this as part of our normal course of events. So anyway, that was passed as well. And the other thing is we had the report given to us on the provincial the provincial plans review, and so this is the province is doing a review of the provincial policy statements, and Mrs. Dale was able to provide us a review of a number of the issues that affect us as well within this and what has been directed towards the province. Again, it led to some discussions about how certain agriculture pieces are treated, and we also, I guess really in the end we were trying to figure out the communication piece that we were coming into play and how we're actually feeding these back in and through. As we know, the region is putting in a comprehensive report, and our information is going into the province as well, so that they know and understand our views on the provincial policy statement. So that was pretty much it. That's it.
Thank you very much. Any questions? No questions. Your pleasure on the motion. The motion is carried. Thank you, Councillor Foster. We move on now to the Infrastructure Committee, and I have a motion moved by Councillor Pachariva and seconded by Councillor McMillan that the minutes of the Infrastructure Committee meeting of October 12, 2016 be adopted and the recommendations contained therein be approved and acted upon. Councillor Pachariva.
Thanks, Your Worship. Like the Economic Development and Planning, the infrastructure meeting on October the 12th only had 4 items, but all very important pieces of information. First one is dealing with the King Street sanitary sewer replacement tender results. This 140-meter section of sanitary sewer is found between William and Queen Street, and the tender the replacement of this is going to Nexera at a tender amount of $187,816. This was piece of pipe was found to be in very poor condition upon video inspection, but it will have to be replaced using traditional open cut methods. It was originally tendered last year, but we only had one tender and it came in over budget, so it was included in this year's capital budget. Hopefully work will be a 2 to 3 week time period. It'll be starting in late October, early November. And though NextEra hasn't done any work in our municipality, they have done similar projects in neighboring municipalities, and there's good reports on them. The second item that we dealt with was quite groundbreaking. It's with respect to restricting heavy trucks on Quarry Road. There's been some complaints, an increased number of heavy trucks using a bypass, using Quarry Road as a bypass between Fly and King. And we're going to include Quarry Road under our bylaw 2015-50, which prohibits heavy trucks on certain roadways in Lincoln. That bylaw in itself is a temporary bylaw, and committee that evening had talked about making it a permanent stand. The thought was that Quarry Road is surface treated, and the speed limit on the road is 50 kilometers an hour, and there's some curve warnings of 25 kilometers an hour. And it has approximately 800 vehicles a day. So considering the poor geometrics and pavement structure of the road, it's not desirable for that kind of traffic. So we're going to, and traffic using it as a bypass or a cut through is going to prematurely compromise the service life of the pavement structure. So this is going to be the first in a number of roads we're going to be looking at. Staff's going to look at the entire road network, and we're going to tackle the problem as part of the town's transportation master plan initiative proposed in 2017. So there's a number of north-south roads and east-west roads we'll be looking at. Our third piece of correspondence from the evening had to do with the roundabout, the recently completed roundabout at King Street, Green Lane, and Durham. It had been raised as a councillor inquiry at the previous meeting, and council will remember that council chose the enhanced level of landscaping in that roundabout. Now, what that means is there's upgraded plantings versus straight grass. There's upgraded trees. The decorative salmon-colored stone concrete is also part of the enhancement. And the roundabout has irrigation infrastructure in place in the middle. Councillor McPherson, mentioned that night that that roundabout is the entrance to our house. So in essence, it's our front door. And council was really, really concerned with it wanting to look the best. Christmas time, you hang that wreath on the front door, wants to be open, wants to be inviting. And we thought, or the discussion that came around was the new plantings are relatively young. And what we'll do is we'll wait 6 months to a year, and we'll have, a chance for the vegetation to establish itself. It should hopefully grow and fill out. Plantings were done reasonably late this year because of the hot, dry summer, and it should look more robust. We've got a couple options. We can, add some additional low-profile plantings at a cost of around $4,000. We talked about hedging. We talked about using the Canada 150 tulips, putting in there. And we also talked about hiring a landscape architect to work on developing potential gateways to our town, east, west, north, and south. So we'll have a look at that and see what it looks like after it's had a chance to grow. And the last report was actually very, very interesting. It was about the growth in the town's road infrastructure and the operational maintenance responsibilities. The infrastructure has increased 4% over the last 16 years, so we've added approximately 12 kilometers of roads since the year 2000. But this has been done with the same operational staffing complement. And given the new provincial legislation and provincial minimum maintenance standards, the road network is going to continue to grow. It will expand another 8 to 13 kilometers with proposed future developments in the southern portion area of Beamsville and Prudhoms. And along with the road growing, the town's sidewalk infrastructure has also experienced similar growth. 68% of this growth has been located in the town of Beamsville. And the town's sidewalk infrastructure has also grown by 5%, or 3 kilometers over the last 16 years, and intends to grow in the next 2 to 5 again. And this was more a heads up to plan to increase operational public works staffing in the future. And then, of course, our favorite is our councillor inquiries. We had some inquiries with respect to the speed reduction PICs, our next steps. Bruce Trail crossings, particularly at Glen Road and Quarry, both being blind spots, to have some increased signage, some paint, some advance warnings. Status of Haynes Road, John Ontario Street Gateway, landscaping contract for next year, Jordan PIC, and a CN crossing update. And then I just wanted to provide council and the public with an update on the Culp Road reconstruction, that Alpha Dome is making excellent progress on its project, and the work is nearing completion. The town would like to thank its residents for the continued patience throughout the duration of this construction project. And early October, complete restoration works. The boulevards and driveways should be complete. And it's important to know that the contractor will be responsible for the sod for 30 days from its installation. After this period, it will be the responsibility of the property owners to maintain this on a regular yard maintenance. And this is an item, too, that hopefully we're going to look at in the budget on a go-forward basis. We do a lot of road reconstruction. We do a lot of restoration works, sod, hydro seeding, and the contractor is usually responsible for, you know, maintaining that for 30 days, going in and watering it. And you know, hopefully we're going to look at giving the residents a break on watering that new, you know, grass and planting so it takes hold. It's just a crime to notice some of these plantings have gone on, not been watered, not been tended to, and they've died. Now, luckily, within the first 2 years, there's a maintenance period in effect, and we can get those replaced. But we really need to have the public buy in, water those plantings, cut your boulevards, and you know that takes a lot of pressure off the town staff. So, you know, do your part to make our town a better place.
Thank you very much. You'll be bringing that up at budget.
I shall.
In competition with all of the other things on the list. Councillor Thompson, Councillor Foster.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to speak to item D, which is the road network growth information, and actually is questioned through to Director Graham. Obviously, along with roads, we're going to be seeing an increase in the water and sewer infrastructures in these areas as well. And it talks in the report about you know, having a plan put together to phase in or to increase the complement of tools and equipment and staff and whatnot. What sort of do you have a plan in place already, or are you working towards that?
Through Madam Mayor, that's a great question. I think what we want to sort of just get out there and get council aware of how we've grown and with our infrastructure. And I know this report kind of really highlighted the roads, but underneath those roads we have all the underground infrastructure being water and sewer. We're anticipating our water distribution system for Beansville is going to go from a class 2 to a class 3 system, with some of the larger subdivisions coming on in the next few years in Beansville. So our water system is going to get reclassified as a result of growth. So, but staff will be developing a plan to show council what we're looking for in terms of staffing resources as we move forward. It'll be an ongoing undertaking.
Satisfactory?
That's actually very good. I'm pleased to see that we're actually proactively thinking ahead and making sure we're planning 10, 15, 20 years down the road instead of trying to Band-Aid things, you know, last minute. Oh my goodness, we've grown this much. We really don't have the equipment or staff to deal with it. So good on Director Graham and his department on thinking ahead on this. So,
Councillor Foster, do you have a different subject?
Well, I was going to make comment on that one as well.
Go ahead.
Then I can, because I think I saw the chair
Well, I just want to make
waving
sure
his hands
that,
over here,
I just want to make sure Mr. Kirkopoulos gets his comments in at the appropriate time. Go ahead, please.
I'm getting a little nervous with this one as we're starting to hear about this. And this is going to mean a pretty significant discussion about staffing as well as, how we're going to be proceeding into the future. I mean, an important thing that Councillor Thompson just said about technology and about a variety of things like that. I mean, the taxpayer really, in the end, there isn't an unlimited amount of money that we can be going and spending within this municipality. So at some point in time, we're going to have that big discussion, I guess. And I'm sort of looking at Mr. Kirkopoulos, who's probably going to mumble something about big picture with this. But we definitely, the whole thing around this, I mean, the 12 kilometers of additional road are urban roads that have gone into place. Yes, there's future things, and we've been spending a ton of money to make sure that our infrastructure is set up and working appropriately. So anyway, it's going to be a real challenge for staff in this particular area. So,
Thank you very much, Mr. Kirkopoulos. We have your well-rounded discussion.
Through you, Madam Mayor, just a few comments, and I'll address Deputy Mayor Foster's comments after I speak to a little bit of what Dave spoke to, and that is, we've also been working with senior levels of government through some of the recent rounds of infrastructure stimulus programs that have been announced, the Clean Water and Wastewater Fund being one of them, as well as the OCIF, Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund. Without predisposing, I think, our success, I think we're going to be fairly successful in at least one, if not both of those potential asks. And so additional works or additional monies will be coming in from senior levels of government. Now, I think to Director Graham's point about how do we deliver on these projects, some of it will be trying to do more with less. Some of it will definitely be trying to plan for the future. And if we need to, incorporating in some of these works some temporary resourcing or some temporary staffing in order to get us over some of these hurdles. But definitely, without, I think, poking fun at the needing to be big picture, we do need to invest in our infrastructure. I think Council's been doing a great job as we get ready to bring you the capital budget and our capital forecast for 2017. I think you'll see what we've been investing over the last 9 years as we look at that trend. And then moving forward, I think as I shared to you the last time we had a committee of the whole business planning meeting, we need to look at renewing existing infrastructure. We need to look at growth-related infrastructure that is funded through development charges. And then we need to, as we move forward, look at those transformational projects that we can be investing in. But cognizant that there isn't an unlimited amount of money, and we're going through our own process right now, looking at what we can cut, what can be funded differently, and where we can leverage monies from senior levels of government.
Reasonably satisfied. All right. Councillor Pachariva, it's appropriate that you should have the final say.
Thank you, Worship. Yes. You know what, Director Graham and I had some good discussion about this, and a point to Councillor Thompson's question about being proactive. In our September meeting, we had an issue of looking at a full-time person to take on the water or the wastewater compliance. We've been out without that position since 2011, and legislation is coming in effect within the next 2 years that you'll have to completely build a DWQMS system from the ground up. It's 21 steps. It's constantly bettering it. It's constantly documenting and making it better. We've done that for water, and it's held us in great position where, with Mr. Shelton, and I'd be remiss if I didn't congratulate Chris on getting his new license. He's a level 3, so when we add on these new houses, we'll be equipped to take that on. We need to do that at wastewater as well. The good thing about that is it's completely not levy impacted, as it's funded through water and wastewater reserves. Mr. Graham and I also had a good talk about as the road network continues to grow, it continues to evolve. We need to be looking at that GPS data. We need to be reorganizing snowplow routes. We might have to add a snowplow, but we've got to start working smarter rather than harder. Maybe we've got to look at new technologies about doing road resurfacing, things like that, items you see at Roma-Ogra, and now it's just going to be Roma and Ogra as those conferences are split. But you know what? I have my utmost confidence in our director, Mr. Graham, to bring us those new case scenarios, to bring us those new technologies. And when he does, we need to support him because he's the guy doing it day in and day out.
Well, Mr. Pachariva, Councillor Pachariva, I hope that you're able to repeat that same argument at budget. Because that's when it's going to count.
And if I need to invoke a light headlock, Your Worship, I shall.
I'll be watching for that.
Not on you, though, of course.
All right. Councillor Foster.
So I had a couple of other items, and now I'm starting to get worried about the budget process. The Quarry Road. So it's all fine and dandy for us to go and say, stop using this north-south route for trucks coming down. And we'll put up the lovely sign that will say, no trucks allowed going down here. Well, first of all, with all of those, there's always the issue of, there's greenhouses and there's a variety of things. So the local traffic, of course, is going to have to be kept in mind. But secondly, we can't just go and across the escarpment, all of our roads say, we're not allowing trucks to be going down them. I mean, we're going to have to be a little careful as we're making these progressive looks at our roads. I mean, I happen to think this is very positive, okay? I think staff have come back with a really good idea on this particular one. But it just can't be, ad hoc. Like, we can't be going and making changes to all of them this way. I mean, and sooner or later we got to be making sure that the region and the province comes through and does a proper north-south truck route in and through. So, and we can't not continue pushing that as we're going on as well. And just the other thing through to the chair, sometimes our minutes are a little bit loose or not, they're not really saying what's going on. So it says members received information about next steps related to the town's speed reduction campaign. I can't remember if you said anything about it earlier, but the thing is that this is an area that all of us have a lot of interest in. In fact, this has been sort of the cornerstone for me for the last number of years. So it would be really nice if within our minutes we could state a little more clearly what it is that's been presented. I mean, generally speaking, under councillor inquiries, it's an inquiry that's going back and then they're able to provide information. But if solid information is being provided, in my opinion, and through to the clerk and the CAO to think about this, we really should be documenting that within the minutes, because I think it's important enough that we know and understand, exactly what was stated within that and what was provided. So.
Very good point, Councillor Foster. Councillor Foster, I will say that when we're talking about budget, one of the matters that we will also bring up is the challenge to putting money in at one end to rehabilitate our roads and having them deteriorate at a rate much faster than in the past. And so it's all in balance, as you've said before. Councillor Pachariva, only if we're not talking budget.
No. Heavens, no. No, just providing some clarification to Councillor Foster, who unfortunately wasn't at the meeting. Bylaw 2015-50 does allow for the delivery and providing of goods and services, trucks coming. So it's banning those trucks cutting through. And Mr. Graham pointed out that night, by imposing this bylaw, it actually allows the Niagara Regional Police to come in and ticket those trucks. Actually, we're not going to go in a full-blown ticketing mode right off the back. It's going to be some education. And the tackling the road system will be part and parcel of the town's transportation master master plan on a go-forward basis. So we're not going to take a paintbrush and willy-nilly go X, 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 X. There's going to be some science. There's going to be some thought behind that. And with respect to the PICs, the speed reduction, that was just came up in councillor inquiries on where are we? What are the next steps? Our director, Mr. Graham, will be providing us with a fulsome report. We actually asked Councillor Foster to have another infrastructure meeting before the budget to bring these things forward so that committee's on side, then we can present them to council, so council's on side on a go-forward basis coming to the budget. So that's, I know that's one of your key pieces of legislation you're looking at, and we want you on board, and we want to keep this thing moving. So that was the question by about 3 members of the committee, where we got to keep this momentum going. We got to keep moving with it. And I was shocked to see, you know, the speed reduction PICs. We talked about the corner of Green Lane and Lincoln Avenue having the stop bars put on the street. And, you know, that gives the NRP some teeth to actually ticket people rolling through those stop signs, not paying attention. I was heading that way on Thursday morning just after the meeting, and a school bus rolled through it. So there needs to be more education on this and you know, why it's important.
Thank you.
It had nothing to do with budget. I'm passionate about
Getting farther and farther from the minutes. Councillor Foster, last word.
Oh, well, it's...
Very generous that I am to allow you to speak 2 and 3 times.
Well, don't forget every once in a while some of these things we do have to have a quick chat about
absolutely.
tonight. And, you know, one of the things is...
I have to join the committee because it's getting very busy.
Well, you know, this is a bit of a problem. Like within our committees, I'm glad Councillor Renchima was able to attend that evening. I wasn't able to attend, and so one of the things that we have with these committees is that we are dealing with some pretty important stuff, you know, at each of the individual committee meetings, and yet you only have a committee that's going on with it. It's almost like some of these things are getting big enough is that we should, you know, maybe be having a bit larger meeting or whatever the case may be with some, I don't know. We'll just leave that one lay and talk about it at some other time. But what else was I going to say to that? Oh, I don't care. I'm not going to bother you anymore, Mayor. Sorry.
It's not a bother, but I do have to maintain some modicum of order. I do think the public enjoy the conversation. Otherwise, how would they know what's going on? So we have this motion. Your pleasure on the motion. Motion's carried. We have no confirmation of compliance with Section 34 of the Planning Act, but we do have bylaws. I have a motion moved by Councillor Pachariva, seconded by Councillor Renchima, that leave be given to introduce the following bylaws. Number 2016-69, to amend bylaw 2015-50, being a bylaw to regulate and prohibit heavy vehicle traffic on certain highways in the town of Lincoln, Quarry Road. And number 2016-70, to authorize a site plan agreement with 1863406 Ontario, Inc. Questions to the motion? Pleasure on the motion? Motion's carried. And a motion moved by Councillor McMillan and seconded by Councillor Pachariva that bylaws number 2016-69, 2016-70 read a first time be now read a second and third time and finally passed, and that the mayor and clerk sign and seal the said bylaw. Your pleasure on the motion. The motion is carried. And we move on now to councillor inquiries. On the right-hand side of the table, any councillor inquiries? Nothing? On the left-hand side? I have a question of the CAO regarding the movement of soil, many truckloads of soil that is causing concern in the south neighborhoods on the Frost Road property. I'm sorry, I don't know the number. Mr. Kirkopoulos, what can you tell us? I know we have a bylaw that covers this. Are we in compliance? These people in compliance? What's happening?
Through you, Madam Mayor, for those that are wondering what the property that the mayor is referring to, that is the one formerly with the Shire application. What I can tell you about that is that there is active complaints and a file that's been opened recently on that particular property. There will be a site visit between our property standards staff and Public Works on Wednesday, at which time we'll be reporting back to council and committee if there are any contraventions.
Any questions? I have other questions, but I'll wait for the report because this has been going on for some time now. Doesn't seem to be improving. All right, Mr. Kirkopoulos, we'll wait for the report because there will be many parts to it, I'm sure. Councillors, is there any notice of motion? Nothing? We have announcements. Mr. Kirkopoulos, you have a few announcements. I'll let you go first.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I do. One announcement, we have covering our council town hall meetings and covering town hall Luke Edwards, who's in the front row with the Blue Jays hat. As he mused on social media, he's been traded from Grimsby to Lincoln. We're happy to have him. I think it's definitely a good trade for Luke and a great trade for us. So I just want to acknowledge Luke, who's here, and to also announce that we recently completed our recruitment for a communications officer. She'll be starting on November 9th. Her name is Carrie Beatty. Carrie joins us from Niagara region. She is also someone who's very familiar to this community. She's a Lincoln resident. She's spent some time volunteering and working with the Niagara Community Foundation and the Lincoln Community Fund. I could go on and read her bio, but I can tell you she'll be a welcome addition to the team here. She's got extensive experience both in corporate partnerships. Right now she's the manager of partnerships in the CAO's office on a secondment. She spent the better part of the last decade and a half working in corporate communications as well as in public health and emergency management communication. So a great addition for us. Happy to have her. And I think for those councillors that don't know her, she'll be wonderful, but most of you I think know Carrie. So looking forward to having her.
Great. Mr. Kirkopoulos, do you have anything else? I thought you had another item. No?
No, Madam Mayor.
All right, that's fine. Sorry. Councillor Njima.
Thank you, Mayor Easton. On behalf of the Chamber of Commerce, there's we're holding a business after 5 this Wednesday, and as councillors, you're all members of the Chamber, so you're welcome to attend. And it's being held at the headquarters for FBH Group at the Woodburn Cottage. So again, that's this Wednesday, October 19th, from 5 till 7. Please register at lincolnchamberofcommerce.ca, or you can call 563-5044.
Okay, thank you very much. I also have an announcement. Our Helen Booth is gone, and I just wanted to let everyone know that Helen wrote a book, the first edition of a book called Stone. The Stone. Yes, I should have written that down, and now I can't remember the name of it. However, it was a stone. It was a book regarding the property that the museum is located on. My apologies. And she's written the second edition, which is called Stories of Wood and Stone, the Houses of the Jordan Historical Museum. And if I'm lucky, I might find in here the name of the first edition, but I don't see it. At any rate, this book is $6. It's available at the museum. That's a pretty good price. And it's all about the schoolhouse and the Fry House. And it goes back to the very beginning of the museum, and it's really a nice little read, and I think it's a wonderful stocking stuffer. So if you're interested in local history, this is the one. And I have several copies that I'll be giving out to lucky people over the next few weeks, so that'll be great. Okay, anything on this side of the table? Councillor Timmers.
Thank you, Mayor Easton. It was already announced, but I just want to just say it again. It's from the Canada 150 Committee that we're having 2 open houses. The first one is Tuesday, October 25th at the Jordan Fire Station, 6 to 8. The second one is Wednesday, October 26th at the Fleming Center from 6 to 8. And if you register by calling the town, you will be able to receive a nice free package of tulips to take home and plant at your own house. So you need to register just as to what night you're coming. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. All right, we'll move on now to the bylaw. There is no closed session. I have a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council, moved by Councillor Timmers and seconded by Councillor Foster, that leave be given to introduce the following bylaw, number 2016-71, to adopt, confirm, and ratify matters dealt with by council resolution. Your pleasure on the motion. The motion is carried. And I have a motion moved by Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Foster, that bylaw number 2016-71 read a first time, be now read a second and third time, and finally passed, and that the mayor and clerk sign and seal the said bylaw. Your pleasure on the motion. The motion is carried. Ladies and gentlemen, the published business of this regular meeting of the Corporation of the Town of Lincoln having been completed, I declare the meeting adjourned. Thank you, councillors. Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Thank you, Mr.